What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Powered by Primus. In today's video, I'm going to be showing off the deck list that got me into top 8 yesterday. This is going to be prime time. Now, this thing is super exciting. Now, this will not be a video where I'll be talking about Gen Con. I'm just going to be showing off this deck list when I get back home and I get to meet up with a few other people. We're going to be doing a Gen Con recap video where we'll talk about literally everything. So make sure you guys obviously check out that video later on. But like I said, let's get into this deck list. Now, obviously the deck does revolve around General Optimus Prime. It's really awesome. While in this mode, all of your other characters get bold 1, tough 1, and then when you flip to this mode, he does have bold 1, tough 1 for himself, and then he also has focus 1, which before battling on attack and on defense, you get to look at the top card and you may scrap it. So it's really awesome to make sure that you flip your oranges on attack, and really good that you flip your blues on defense, which is super, super awesome. Obviously, Flame War's in here because Flame War is really good, being able to give your entire team tough, but also being able to flip to this side to give your team bold. Now, if you haven't been able to see it yet, obviously this is going to be a very, very mixed list, so both these characters are able to really be able to do the same thing. And then obviously our third character coming in is going to be Wheeljack. Whenever you upgrade him specifically, it's really any card but just him in this list, you get to draw a card and scrap a card, which is pretty nice. And then while you're in this mode, he has bold 3 as long as you have a weapon in your scrap pile. Now we do have lots of weapons in this deck, so he will 99% of the time always be able to get that bold 1. And then if you are in this mode with Prime, which you usually are when you do go to attack, he will get bold off of this Prime as well, so he really will have kind of bold 4. Now, the really fun part about this list is that not only is it able to deliver a really heavy hit, but it's also be able to block a lot as well, which is where a lot of the power does come from with this list. One thing about Wheeljack that's very scary is that he can potentially be doing 15 damage on attack and then also blocking 6 or 7 on defense, which is really, really scary because this guy is just a monster of a character card. And then also Optimus is obviously a monster. He gets to deal tons of damage. And then even Flame War in this list is really dangerous. I did have someone else was playing the list yesterday and they managed to get like 15 damage off of their Flame War. I think last night I managed to get like a 12 hit off of my Flame War. So even Flame War can get in for massive damage in this list, which is really awesome because she's usually just a support character. But even in this list, she can go on offense too, which is really, really awesome. So let's get these characters out of the way here and get into our, let's do actions first. Now, our first 2 actions coming in are going to be Espionage. Now, Espionage is a white battle icon. This table is so slippy. Alright, it is a white battle icon card, which allows us to flip 2 more on attack and on defense, which is really awesome. It is a green pip, which means we get to pick it up, and then obviously we get to choose a color from our opponent's, you get to choose a color, and then you get to look at your opponent's hand and scrap any card of the chosen color. Now this thing was really good this weekend for being able to hit all those cards. I know that we're going to be knocking off my armors, or going after enigmas in a few different games, so this card was just really, really awesome, and it's always really nice to be able to take away your opponent's tools. Next card coming in is a 3-of, and we really run the whole package in this. I call it like the Metroplex effect, but we actually run both double blue pips, and we run both double orange pips, so it's really interesting, but we'll get into that later on. It is Security Checkpoint. Obviously, it is a double blue battle icon card. Really awesome. It says each player reveals their hand, scraps all upgrades from it. Now, we are primarily upgrades. We actually have, I think, only like 12 usable actions in the entire list, but this thing is really nice to be able to hit our opponent if they're doing a bunch of stuff with upgrades themselves, or if I know they're holding onto a weapon the turn that they're about to attack, so this is a really good card to be able to get those out of our opponent's hand. Next one coming as a 1-of is going to be Ramming Speed. Obviously, it is an orange battle icon, allows us to get that damage in, and gets to scrap an enemy upgrade. Really good card. And then we have 1 Vaporize. Now, I went with these because it is a mixed list, so I figured 1 of each. There's no difference between the card. You get to scrap an enemy upgrade. The next 1-of coming in is going to be Press the Advantage. Now, I did main board 1. I don't think I have any sideboard, but we'll get into the sideboard as well. This one is really just a +2 attack, and I'm okay with that in this list. Sometimes, because we do have a lot of blues as well, if I look through my scrap pile before going to attack, which I always recommend that you do, and I have a bunch of my oranges in there, or a bunch of my double oranges in there, then this is a really easy card to be able to play to help me get that +2 damage in if I know I'm be attacking and flipping a bunch of blues. Also has the added advantage of being a green pip, so I can fetch it whenever I would like, and then if I go up against Decepticons in any way, shape, or form, it essentially then becomes +4, which is really, really relevant. Next one coming as a 3-of is going to be Battlefield Report. Now, Battlefield Report is a blue battle icon card. It is a secret action. Now, originally, on Thursday, I ran this list, and I had security consoles in the list to be able to do essentially the same thing, and it did have a white pip, but it really was an underwhelming card, and I did not like it. So I ended up coming back. I changed the list a little bit. This was one of the changes that I did make. Ooh, excuse me. This is one of the changes that I did make because it was a secret action. Like I said, I saw that I was really light on actions and not really a lot of usable actions. So this was kind of easy way to put this in. It does say that when one of your characters defends, you get to draw 2 and put one on top of your deck. The other benefit is if you have double blue cards in your hand and you are on that defense, those are great cards to stick on top to know that you're automatically going to be flipping at least a double blue on defense, which is really, really powerful. Plus, it allows you to draw 2 cards so you're ready to go when it comes back to your offensive turn. Next one coming in, and this was one that I ended up changing as well, is Zap. Now, like I said, I originally did not run Zap in my main board on Thursday, but I did end up putting it in there in the main board, and it was amazing for me on Friday, which was really awesome. It is an orange battle icon card, allowing us to get that extra damage, and then doing 1 damage to enemy. Now, this was primarily in there because of how many bug players I saw. I knew that there were going to be lots. I originally had stuff on my sideboard to deal with them, and for the most part, it did really well on the sideboard. I think I only ended up losing 1 match against bugs, and I think I beat 3 or 4 other matches with bugs. But putting this one in allowed me on Friday to be able to deal with them a lot easier, especially in the main board, being able to hit Scrapnel and then attack into them, so I didn't have to spend an extra 3rd attack into Scrapnel, because usually if you have to spend 3 attacks into Scrapnel, you're probably going to lose the game. Next card coming is a 3 of is going to be Peace Through Tyranny. Now, this is a double orange battle icon. Obviously in there just because it's double orange. You can KO a character that has 6 or more stars. You cannot obviously target Flame War because she has 5. So you can try to hit a Wheeljack and get a double Optimus turn if you think it's necessary. For the most part, I've never had that scenario pop up for me, but this is possible if you're going up against another like Optimus Prime and your Wheeljack's already tapped, and you could get rid of your Wheeljack then and get 2 Optimus swings. And if you know like you have like an Ion Blaster, which we'll get into here soon, maybe that's the route to go to where you can get 2 attacks into him and it might win you the game, so you don't have to worry about untapping. But so far, like I said, I've yet to use it for the ability, but it is in there obviously because it's double orange. And then our last action coming in here is going to be Supercharge. It is an orange battle icon and allows us to get both 3 onto our characters. Now, like I said, this is a very mixed list, and sometimes if you go through a lot of your oranges and or even a lot of your blues on defense, and you have to go through a pretty big defense coming up next, this is a really good card that I use to to get extra damage. But honestly, I use it more to reshuffle my scrap pile into my deck. If I know I'm getting really low because we're going through so many cards as far as on our attack for a lot, and we have tough, so we have, defend for a lot, this allows me to reshuffle my deck if I know that I'm like, okay, I'm about to attack for a big number, but I know I only have 3 blues left in the deck, or maybe there's 4 cards left in the deck and I can't really tell what's left in there, and I know there's a double oranges. This is a really good reset card, so that's really awesome. All right, let's get these all out of here. We're just going to kind of scoop them up. Hiya. All right, getting into our upgrades. First one coming in is going to be Improvised Shield. Now, again, these are going to be really interesting. It is a double orange battle icon card, which is primarily why it's in there, but it does give us tough 1. There were actually multiple times last night where I played this to give Wheeljack or Optimus tough 1 because sometimes I couldn't get rid of it out of my hand, and then it's not a bad card to play because we do run so many blues that these are actually really beneficial to be able to get that ability and also use it for its pips. The other one for the same thing, 3 of, is going to be Handheld Blaster. Now, it is a double blue battle icon, great for defense, but it also does give us Bolt 1. Again, really works out on this list because we're such a mixed list. I don't recommend you ever play these as your weapons or your armors, but if you have no other choice, then these are really good things to play. Now, next one coming in as a 2 of and was kind of a tech card is going to be Gyro Blaster. Now, Gyro Blaster was something, let me move these up. Gyro Blaster was something that I decided to main board because I assumed that there was going to be a lot of aggression going into Friday morning still, and I know that this card main board really just shuts down a lot of those decks. So usually sideboarding into them sometimes for me is a little too slow because then I have to really rely on game 1 going in my favor, because if I have to go to game 2 and sideboard these in, then I have to pray that I get them or I'm in a really bad spot. So you usually really want to take game 1. So like I said, I main board these. There is no pip on the card, but it is a utility, which is really the most important part about the card is it goes in that utility slot. It gives us +1, and then it says whenever the upgraded character battles, each player can't flip more than 2 cards. Now, it is difficult to remember to do this. There was multiple times where I went to flip a 3rd, or my opponent flipped the 3rd or 4th card, but just make sure you guys keep an eye on that. But this thing is, like I said, really awesome. It's shutting down Kickback, shutting down Metroplex, shutting down Wheeljack, or even my opponent's Wheeljack. The cool part about this on my characters is it doesn't really hurt us. On Prime, it is amazing because we get to focus anyway, and we're usually hitting for 8 or 9 damage, and then our opponent just blocks 2 or whatever else. Another thing that happened last night that was really, really important, my opponent had a Battlefield Legend with 3 extra paddings on that I knew I would never get through, and playing this on there just turns off all the tough. So he just gets to flip 2 on defense, and then I'm putting out so much damage, and it was a pretty easy game from there. Next one coming in is going to be a grenade launcher. Now, originally, I actually didn't have grenade launcher on the list. This was weeks ago. It's been in my list since I got to Gen Con, but this wasn't originally in the list. I wasn't a huge fan of it at first when I play tested it, but I realized that sometimes you just flip blues on attacks. So this was really important to put in there because even if I do happen to flip those blues on attacks, we're still getting +4 from the weapon. So it ended up being really relevant because then you're swinging with, Wheeljack with a base 9 or Prime with base 10, and then you get to really just make sure you maximize that damage even if you happen to flip blues. The one thing that's really powerful about this deck is its consistency. Even when it attacks and flips blues, or even on defense when it flips oranges, it's still a really powerful list because of everything else that does encompass it. It is really, really strong. It's really, really resistant, and it makes it really powerful when your opponent can't KO your characters, but still has to worry about the crackback so much, which is really, really important. Next one coming as a one of, we'll put there. It's going to be Enforcement Batons. Now, this is a orange battle icon helping us out on attack. Green so we can fish it out. And it says when you play this onto a character, you can scrap an enemy weapon. Again, I knew that there would be a lot of aggressive stuff there, so mainly weapons. Knew there would be lots of Lionizers. We saw so many Lionizers across the table and stuff like that. So this was an easy card to put in to be able to fish out, to be able to get rid of those cards if I needed. Next one coming as a 2 of is going to be Noble's Blaster. It's a blue battle icon. It is a green, so we get to fish it out, and then it does say when you put this on Autobots, only put on Autobots, your character does get +2 attack and Pierce 2 against Decepticons. Now, I didn't really ever get the Pierce 2 effect off. It didn't really matter a whole much because I was usually doing, like I said, 8, 10, 12, 14 damage. So the Pierce 2 didn't really ever be relevant, but the +2 attack is relevant because it is a weapon. Now, we can only put it on Wheeljack or Optimus, which is totally okay. Like I said, Flame War gets in for enough damage by herself. She usually is there for support and stuff, but this is really awesome. Plus, it's really easy. These are, great cards to be able to scrap to Wheeljack if you absolutely need to be able to get a weapon into your scrap pile so you get that bolt. Next one coming as a 2 of is going to be the Ion Blaster of Optimus Prime. Obviously, this card is amazing. It's a blue battle icon, really helps us out on defense, gives Optimus +2 attack and +1 defense. Sorry. So you're looking at 8 attack and 3 defense while in bot mode with being able to focus and then possibly having tough 2, 1 from himself and 1 from Flame War. So he really doesn't take a whole lot of damage, and he's able to just put out a lot of damage. Next one coming as a 1 of is going to be Matrix of Leadership. Orange and blue, obviously fantastic. We do have a leader who is Optimus, so it does really work out. This goes in the utility slot for him. If we don't have a Gyro Blaster, most of the time if I'm playing against aggressive, I don't really ever think about this card, and I always want to get to my Gyro Blasters. But it does give Optimus +1, and then it does give other characters Pierce 1 as long as it's on Optimus. Now, I have played this as well on to Wheeljack before, just to give him that +1 when I needed to get the job done, and it has worked, but obviously my main target is going to be Optimus. Next one coming as a 1 of is going to be Sparring Gear. Now this is an orange battle icon, green for its fetchable, and then it does give us the tough 2. Again, this list is so mixed. This thing just has no downside to it. I want to flip it on attack. It gives me that orange. I can pick it back up with the green, and then it gives me that tough 2. So on my defensive go, I get to be able to flip more cards on defense. So it's really, really powerful. And then the last one coming in is going to be Reinforced Plating. Now this is a blue battle icon card, help us out on defense, and then does give us tough 2, obviously allowing us to tank more hits and just really try to absorb more. Swoop all these up. I actually left my sideboard on the side over here, so I'm just gonna move real quick. There we go. All right, so coming in with the sideboard, which is all over the place. What am I doing? There we go. All right, it's all over the place. First one is a 2 of is going to be 1 shall stand, 1 shall fall. Like I said, I bring these in mainly for bugs or 3 wide primes. This thing is really nice just to be able to get that extra 3 damage if I need to KO a Flame War. Most people are also playing Aimless right now from what I'm seeing. So this is really good for being able to put that extra 3 damage on Aimless because he is one tough little bastard. So being able to get that 3 damage is really nice, and then obviously being able to hopefully help you ping down Prime, get to that point, and like I said, again, really big for bugs if you're trying to finish off Scrapnel or whatever the case is. Even if you want to finish off one of the little guys, so then you can go into someone else and try to get double KO for a turn. Really, really strong card. Now this was one I ended up adding right before coming to Gen Con, and that is I Still Function in the sideboard. Now again, I was really thinking, and I really teched a lot of this deck, at least the sideboard and a couple of cards of main board, for aggressive decks. And I Still Function was one that I teched in there for it. I assumed if I was going to be going, blow for blow against an orange list, that they would assume I wouldn't have an I Still Function, which is a great assumption, but this thing being able to come back is really, really powerful, and be able to bring back Wheeljack, bring back Optimus, and just really get that big hit in. I know yesterday I did bring back actually a Flame War, which was really interesting with it, but my opponent was playing a bug deck, and he played all-out attack on me, swung with everything. He only killed Flame War, which was really awesome. She just tanked so much damage. He wasted, I think, 2 swings into my Flame War, and then I Still Functioned back my Flame War, and then I flipped her to give my characters bold 1, and then I got to essentially all-out attack my opponent because he was all tapped down. Didn't not work out for him very well, but this card was really, really awesome, really worked out in that situation. I did also use it to bring back a Wheeljack 1 turn and went double attacks into a Battlefield Legend that was able to win the game and stuff, so really nice card to be able to bring in. Next card coming in is going to be Take Cover, blue battle icon card. Obviously, it is a secret action. It says reveal if 1 or more of my characters are going to be taking direct damage, and then this allows me to prevent all of that damage. Mainly brought in for 3-wide primes because they run so much direct damage, or aerial bots, I'm sorry. They mainly run so much direct damage that this is just a really nice card to have. I will say that I never actually brought it in those matches because the 3-wide prime players that I played, they never really saw enough direct damage or weren't playing enough direct damage. And then even against aerial bots, it just didn't seem to do too well, so I don't know. I think I'll honestly end up changing this card, but I did put it in there for those reasons. Now the next one coming in that was really well to me was Dampening Field. White battle icon card allowing us to flip 2 more on attack or 2 more on defense, which is really powerful. And it says when one of your characters defends, you get to reveal this, and your opponent can't flip more than 4 cards. Now the thing about this is it does not say that it stops bold, it doesn't stop whatever, it just says they can't flip more than 4 cards. I did use this multiple times. I think I used it against a Metroplex day 1 that worked out really well for me, and then I know I used it against a couple of Wheeljacks and it worked out really well. And then it also was a really good card to bring in against Kickback, because then Kickback can only flip 4 cards, and I will tell you that is a very sad Kickback when he can only flip 4 cards and then flips 3 oranges in a blank. It's pretty brutal. So this thing is really good. Like I said, did absolute great work for me. Fantastic stuff. And then the last one that came in as a shining star as well as Infiltrate. Another secret action blue battle icon card. It says reveal when your opponent goes to play an orange action. Now remember, it says orange action, not upgrade. So I definitely had an opponent who accidentally revealed this to me when we were going to play. I went to play a grenade launcher and he went to show the Infiltrate, and I did not play my supercharge that I was ready to play for the turn. So it was really worked out in my favor for that. But like I said, always remember that this only hits orange actions. And then it says, when revealed, you get to scrap the action and does not get essentially get used, which is really powerful. Like I said, man, I can't stop coughing. I use this on multiple Peace Through Tyrannies and multiple Reckless charges throughout the weekend. This card was nuts for me in this list. Really was. Like I said, there were multiple times where my opponents were like, Peace Through Tyranny, trying to get rid of one of their characters to get a double swing, mainly trying to Peace Through Tyranny their Lionizer. And it's like, as long as you can get this card and set up the correct turn for it, it just absolutely wrecks them. Now, they don't have to get rid of their character still. The character stays like normal, but they don't get the second attack, all the other good jazz. And then they do play the card. It does get scrapped, so it does go to the scrap pile, so they can't keep it for next turn. So make sure you also know that as well. So like I said, got to stop a lot of those, got to stop a lot of reckless charges, people who are really trying to go in for that massive amounts of damage. Great card. Like I said, the deck worked out really well for me yesterday. Ended up panning out pretty nice, so I hope you guys do enjoy the deck profile video. Lots of people were bugging me about it, so I just had to wake up this morning because it was a late night last night, wake up this morning and get you guys the deck list. So like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, obviously a like would be greatly appreciated. Make sure you guys subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.